Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Mr. Miller's Art Room. Today, we're going to be talking about shapes and patterns. Shapes and patterns are some of the most important things that we can learn to create, and we're going to be utilizing crayons in order to create them. The first step is that we need to draw some shapes. One of the things that I like to do is I like to choose just one crayon. I only choose one crayon because specifically one dark crayon. I'm going to choose one dark crayon. Now, a dark crayon is a crayon that is on the darker side of the value spectrum.
Value, Mr. Miller? Do you mean how much it costs?
No, Mr. Monocle, I don't mean how much it costs. I mean whether it's light or dark. So, for instance, purple, black, let's see, maroon or dark red. These are some of the colors that are on the darker crayon spectrum. Light yellow-green, green, or even yellow or lighter crayons. Now, you can color with these crayons, but if you're trying to draw lines and shapes, it's a little bit difficult to see. The darker crayons give us the ability to see the shapes that we've created. I'm going to be using this dark crayon, this black crayon, in order to create my shapes. I'm also going to turn on a light. Okay, now that we've got a little more light on the situation, what I want to do is draw some criss-crossing shapes. Criss-crossing shapes are when the shapes themselves draw right through the other shapes, creating smaller shapes on the inside. So, let me give you an example. Mr. Monocle, what shape should we draw first?
I'd say, what about a square?
Good. Now, let's do a square. So I might draw a square, I don't know, right here. Well, that's all well and good, but we're going to need another shape. Mr. Monocle, I'll let you choose all the shapes.
Very good. How about a circle?
Okay, a circle. So we're going to go ahead and draw a circle right here. Now, this is when a shape crisscrosses. Now, as a result of the circle being on top of the square, drawing right through, we have this brand new shape in between the two of them. This is going to give us an opportunity to add a different kind of pattern. And I'm going to talk about patterns in just a little bit. But, Mr. Monocle, what shape should we draw next?
How about a triangle?
Okay, a triangle. I'll draw a triangle right here. Now, I'm not done yet. I can add shapes on the edges. Watch what I do. I'm going to add a shape down here. Mr. Monocle, what shape should I add?
Perhaps a rectangle.
Okay, I'll add a rectangle right here. Now look, I drew right on the edge of the paper. The edges of the paper count as an edge for one of your shapes. How about I do another shape over here? What should I do over here, Mr. Monocle?
Let's do a circle.
Okay, I'm going to do a circle, but here's the problem with doing a circle over here on this corner. I'm not going to be able to make a full circle. So I'm going to make a semicircle.
Everyone say semicircle.
Semicircle.
Very good.
A semicircle is just a part of a circle, but I want it to crisscross with another shape, so maybe I'll crisscross a circle over here. Now, it's going to go off the edge. If you make a little mark on the table, that's not a problem. That's why we come to art class, because it's okay to make a couple of marks on the table. Now, Mr. Monocle, should we ever draw on the table on purpose?
No, I don't think so, Mr. Miller. That would be irresponsible.
That's correct. We don't draw on the table on purpose, but if it happens by accident, it ain't no thing but a chicken wing. So then what we're going to do is we're going to add a couple of more shapes here, and I'm going to finish this out. Okay, so I've got all of my shapes crisscrossed and laid out. I've got a small circle here, some semicircles, a big circle. I've got a couple of squares and rectangles and triangles. So I'm pretty set. So now I want to color this, but instead of using crayons to color it, I'm going to color it with paint. But what I want to do is add some patterns. So, what is a pattern?
A pattern is when shapes or colors repeat over and over again.
That's correct, Mr. Monocle. Very good. A pattern is when colors and shapes repeat. Other things can be patterns. We see patterns all the time in our everyday life, like in clothing and signs on the road. Patterns are cool because people really like to see patterns. So what we're going to do is add some patterns with our paint. I'm going to use this large paint pack in order to paint the patterns. And what I'm going to do is choose 2 to 3 colors at a time to paint in these individual shapes. Remember, when you paint, you want to take your brush and clean it first, just in case the person who was using it before you didn't do quite as good a job as you might cleaning the brush. Now, the first set of colors I'm going to choose are going to be yellow, orange, and red. Now, why did I choose those?
I don't know, Mr. Miller. Why did you choose them?
I chose them because that's what I wanted to do. I'm going to be using this paint pack in order to paint my patterns here. Now, I'm going to choose yellow, orange, and red in order to make my patterns. So, and I'm just going to do them in one little spot. I'm going to change the patterns every time I go to a different area. Now, the way I'm going to do it is this. I'm going to pretend that all of these lines are like walls that you can't go past. Walls are important because they help divide certain areas. So if I use my orange, for instance, what I'm going to do is maybe I'm going to use my orange in this area. And what I'll do is I'll do a pattern of stripes. Now I leave some of the space open because I want to put other colors in those white spaces. Now watch what I do. When I get here, I stop, pick up my brush, put it back down on the other side, and paint. I paint, I stop, I pick up my brush, move to the other side, and paint the rest of the shape. Before you can go to a different color, you need to make sure that you wash your brush completely, and then you can use a different color. If you don't do that, the colors are going to get all messed up and muddy. So I'm going to choose yellow, and I'm going to skip every other little bar of space. So I used yellow here. I'll skip this one. I'll go yellow here. I'll skip this one. So on and so forth. Now that's done, I'm going to go to the red. So I'm going to swirl my paint in the red, and I'll color the rest of this area red. So red here. It's okay to go right up to the edge, but if you make a mistake and go over the line a little bit, it's not a big deal. Remember, this is not perfect class. What class is this?
It's art class.
It's our class.
That's correct. Now, stripes aren't the only kind of patterns that you can use. The next set of patterns I'm going to do are different colors, and it's going to be a different kind of pattern. I think I might do blue polka dots. A polka dot is basically just a small circle in repeated patterns. So maybe I'll come over here and make some blue polka dots in this area right over here. Now I've got a problem. You see, if I paint in this area with another color, it's going to mix with the blue in a way that I don't want it to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this area, go to a different spot to try a different pattern. And while I'm painting there, this is going to dry, and I'll be able to come back to it and paint the rest of that triangle area with a different color. So I just painted these green lines right here, and these are a special kind of line. Mr. Monagle, what is that special kind of line called where the line bends?
It's called a curve.
That's correct, Mr. Monagle. These are curved lines. Now, they're wet, so I'm going to leave them alone for right now, and I'm going to go back to the blue. Now that the blue is a little bit more dry, it's not 100% dry, but it's a little bit more dry, I can go back and paint inside this area and fill the rest of this polka dot area with a different color. And now I'm going to do the green area right here. So I decided to use a special color that's blue-green. Sometimes people call it teal, sometimes people call it turquoise, but that's what that is. I'm going to fill the rest of this page with different kinds of patterns and colors, and you're going to get to see it right now. And boom, we're done. So, as you can see, because I used a dark crayon, you can still see all the lines. It was easy for me to paint. I added patterns and paint all over the paper. I'd love to see what you come up with. Be sure to like and subscribe, and Have a good day.
I said good day.